against the White Sox. It'll be Kent Mercker against Jim Parquet in Game 1. Back with the rest of his starting lineups right after this. NESN's exclusive coverage of Boston Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places and do things you never thought possible. Fly Southwest Airlines. By United Parcel Service, moving at the speed of business. By Dunkin' Donuts. Nothing says morning like Dunkin' Donuts. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, who reminds you the three most important words are, hey, beer man. By Citizens Bank, not your typical bank. And by Mobile, introducing the fastest way to get gas. Mobile Speed Pass is free, and it's only at Mobile. Actually turning into a pretty nice day here in Chicago. Bright sun overhead, a little bit of fleecy clouds. Certainly much better than yesterday. We had all kinds of rain in the first game of this three-game series between the Red Sox and the Chicago White Sox was washed out. But there's baseball for you today. As a matter of fact, we'll play two. The Red Sox and White Sox. And again, the Red Sox magic number is 1. The Red Sox here in Game 1 will send Jose Offerman in the leadoff spot. He'll be at second base. John Valentin follows at third. Omar Garcia-Parra hits third. He plays shortstop. Then Mike Stanley follows at the cleanup spot. It's Butch Husky, the designated hitter. Roy O'Leary's in left field. Jason Varitek gets the call behind the plate. Damon Buford in center and Darren Lewis in right.
And the defense in Game 1 for the White Sox. It'll be Craig Wilson at third base, Mike Caruso the shortstop, Ray Durham at second, and Paul Konerko at first base. Left to right, Darren Jackson, Chris Singleton, and Maglio Adoniz. Brooke Fordyce behind the plate, and on the mound, left-handed Jim Parquet. This will be start number 30 on the season for Parquet. He is 9-14 with a 5.10 ERA. He has really struggled the second half of this season. He got off to a pretty good start for the White Sox, but that second half has just been an absolute disaster for him. Look at the numbers, 8-5 April through June, but since that All-Star break in July, 1-9 with a 6.58 ERA. He's faced the Red Sox 3 times this season. He's got a couple of losses and a no decision against Boston.
His last win came on July the 7th against Kansas City. So the left-hander will go for the White Sox. He umps in Game 1. Dale Scott calls the balls and strikes for us. He'll be behind the plate. It'll be Bill Miller working at first base. Al Clark is the second base umpire, and Brian Onora over third. Harry Manuel wrapping up his second year as the manager of the Chicago White Sox. Things have gone a little more difficult this time around. He's broken in a lot of rookies, minus a lot of his big guns from a year ago. His first year, he won 80, lost 82. The White Sox come into play today, 71 wins on the year and 85 losses. White Sox playing a little better baseball as of late. Jimmy Williams closing in on the postseason for the second time in as many years. Skipper doesn't want to talk postseason. He keeps saying we've got work to do, and that they do. They need one more. So Jose Offerman all set to lead it off for the Sox. John Valentin, Nomar Garcia-Parra to follow here against left-hander Jim Parquet as we get underway in inning number 1. First pitch of the ball game is in for a called strike on Offerman, who checks in at .292 on the year, 7 homers and 67 runs batted in. Quickly, 2 strikes on Offerman. Strange feeling as you get underway in this twilight doubleheader. Probably, Jerry, have about 150, maybe 200 people in the seats.
This reminds me, Bob, of one of those B games in spring training, the one they play about 10 o'clock in the morning, and then, of course, the main game starts at 1 o'clock.
There's a base hit by Offerman. Goes the opposite way. Ray Durham chasing it out to shallow right field. Couldn't catch up with it. And Offerman has a leadoff single.
One thing that has improved for Offerman over this second half of the season, his batting from the right side of the plate. Good job there. Quickly down by a couple of strikes, and then just trying to make contact, slices the ball to the opposite field for the base hit.
Leadoff man aboard for the Red Sox. Here's John Valentin returning to the lineup tonight. .252, a dozen homers for John, 70 runs batted in. Rips it to third base, right on a line to Craig Wilson. Wilson makes the catch, and there's one out. Valentin had the day off Sunday. Back in the starting lineup here for Game 1 here against the White Sox this afternoon. 1 on, 1 out. Here's Nomar Garcia-Parra. Came to the ballpark yesterday. Jimmy Williams had his lineup posted in the Red Sox clubhouse, and Nomar was not in the starting lineup yesterday. Right wrist apparently has improved enough, so Nomar can play here against the White Sox tonight. Parquet missing down low. 1 ball, no strikes. 356 for Garciaparra. 26 homers, 102 runs batted in. That's fouled back. Count is even, a ball and a strike.
Nomar starts the day at 356. Derek Jeter second at 349, and Edgar Martinez is third at 342.
Jim Parquet, 23-year-old left-hander, going here for the White Sox in game 1. Canerco there holds at first base with Jose Offerman. That one popped wide. 2-1 now. The count on Garciaparra. If you saw ESPN last night on SportsCenter, one of the questions they were asking, Jerry, who was the most valuable duo? And that was the question of the night. And Nomar Garciaparra and Pedro Martinez of the White Sox captured better than 44% of the vote, and they were rated the #1 duo in the majors. As this one is ripped by Nomar to left field. That's off the wall. Played at the 347 sign by Darren Jackson. Moving to third is Offerman, and Garciaparra checks into second base with a double.
High changeup that time by Parquet, and Nomar just missed a home run right at that 347 mark down the line, about halfway up the fence. For Nomar, it'll be his 42nd double. That puts him 1 behind the league leader, Jermaine Dye. Darren Jackson quickly getting the ball back into the cutoff man, and Wendell Kim has to hold off from him at third base.
42nd double of the year for Garciaparra. Sox have runners at second and third. Mike Stanley at the plate, and Stanley fouls it back. 284 for Stanley, 18 homers on the year and 69 runs batted in. One ball, one strike. Ball here, left field. Darren Jackson goes over. He will make the catch. Tagging at third base is Jose Offerman. He comes in to score on the sacrifice fly by Stanley, and the Red Sox grab the lead 1-0.
Now Stanley picks up his 70th RBI of the season. He has been one of the hottest Red Sox hitters in the month of September. A high fastball, a good pitch for Stanley to lift in the air, and he'll get it deep enough to get Offerman home and give the Red Sox the 1-0 lead. It's like a tennis match, Bob. You know, very quiet.
Butch Husky looks at ball 1. Red Sox have won 6 of the 9 meetings with the White Sox this year. Husky hitting .282, 22 homers between Boston and Seattle, and 76 runs batted in. One ball, one strike.
A couple of home runs for Husky in his last 3 games.
Garciaparra at second base with 2 outs. A run in for the Sox. They've got a 1-0 lead over Chicago here in the top of the first. Husky rips that one, fair ball towards the corner in left field. Garciaparra rounds third. He heads home, and Butch Husky will cruise into second base with a stand-up double. It's 2-0 Boston.
Well, so far in this game, Parquet has not been able to get the ball down, and as long as he stays up in the zone that he's pitching in now, the Red Sox are going to score a bunch of runs. Here's a curveball, just hangs out over the plate, and Husky right down that third base line for the double. Everything that he has featured so far, the Red Sox hitters have been belt high or above, and that's not going to get the job done.
Single by Offerman, doubles by Garciaparra and Husky. The Red Sox have a 2-0 lead. Left fielder Troy O'Leary at the plate. O'Leary takes strike 1. 284 for Troy. Leads the Red Sox with 28 homers. One better in the RBI column than Nomar Garciaparra with those 103. Little nubber here. Back to Parquet. Parquet will throw over to Konerko at first base. That retires the side. Red Sox get 2 runs in the inning. On 3 hits, they have themselves a 2-0 lead with the White Sox coming up. 2 in the run column for the Red Sox. They lead 2-0. White Sox bat here. Bottom half of the first inning. Here Emanuel's lineup card looks like this tonight for the Pale Hose. Mike Caruso is the shortstop. He will lead off, followed by Craig Wilson at third base. Ray Durham bats third. Maglio Ordonez in the cleanup spot. Carlos Lee, the designated hitter. Chris Singleton plays center field. Paul Konerko at first base. Aaron Jackson in left, and Brooke Fordyce bats ninth. He'll handle the catching chores.
And a defense in game 1 for the Red Sox. John Ballantyne will be at third base. Nomar Garciaparra the shortstop. Jose Offerman at second and Mike Stanley at first. In the outfield, Troy O'Leary, Damon Buford, and Darren Lewis. Jason Veritek behind the plate, and on the mound, left-hander Kent Merker. Stat number 5, a record of 1-0, 3.60 ERA. Last time out for Merker was against Toronto and lasted 4 2/3 in that ball game, giving up 4 earned runs. Red Sox eventually lost at 7-5. Merker not happy in that game about his changeup. Had a lot of trouble getting that pitch down, and something he was going to work on between starts with Joe Kerrigan.
Well, Merker is 6-5 this year with St. Louis. 1-0 so far as a member of the Red Sox. Has been staked to a 2-run lead as the White Sox bat here, bottom of the first inning. Mike Caruso to lead off. Craig Wilson, Ray Durham to follow.
Always aware of the bunt when Caruso's at the plate. He's got 18 bunt singles this season.
52 for Caruso, a couple of homers, 35 runs batted in. First pitch of the afternoon from Merker is in for a called strike. White Sox come into the ball game 71 wins, 85 losses on the year. They're second to Cleveland, but 24.5 games behind the Indians, who closed the White Sox out in the American League Central a long time ago. One ball, 2 strikes. Two and 2 now on the leadoff hitter for Chicago in the race for best record in the American League this year. Cleveland is on top in that derby, 96-61. The Yankees are 1 behind at 95-62, and 2 back Texas, 94-63. Playoffs were to begin tomorrow, and the Red Sox were to qualify with a win here in this one. They would open still at Cleveland. Ground ball over Merker's head, backhanded at second base by Jose Offerman. Stretch at Stanley at first base, and in time to get Caruso. There's one out.
Oh, what a great play by Offerman. Caruso's got very good speed getting down the line, and Offerman on a very difficult play, still able to throw him out by a couple of feet. Ball get over the head of Merker, I thought for sure, base hit, but watch Offerman to the backhand, and that strong arm, that shortstop arm from second base to get the out at first. Nice play.
One out here, bottom of the first. Here's Craig Wilson, the third baseman. .36 on the year, 4 homers and 26 runs batted in. Not been the best of years here in Chicago, although the White Sox have won their last 3 and 7 of their last 11 ball games. Prior to that, they had dropped 16 of 19. Here's a shot into the corner in right field, chased down out there by Darren Lewis. Craig Wilson goes for 2, and he will go in with a 1-out double.
You know, Craig Wilson has 4 home runs on the season. 2 of those came against the Red Sox in a ball game earlier this season at Fenway Park. Nice inside out swing here. The ball is away from him. He'll slap it right down that right field line. Quite a few doubles here in the first inning. Nomar with a double, Husky with a double. Now Craig Wilson with a double. Place is starting to fill up now, Bob. I see at least 5 more people coming in.
Ray Durham at the plate. Durham takes a called strike. This is reminiscent of those games we used to do in Cleveland when they would have the Why-Night doubleheaders following the rainout the night before. Only Cleveland had 80,000 seats. 45,000 here at Comiskey Park. One ball, one strike here on Durham. Durham brings the .302 average into the ball game tonight. This is the Red Sox first doubleheader of the year. This is the 7th twin bill for the Chicago White Sox. They've had a stretch of real bad weather here early in the season, and the doubleheader has really piled up. .302 for Durham, 13 homers and 60 runs batted in. Couple of Red Sox fans, and they have just about the upper deck all to themselves.
Come on, Ray, your pitch.
The old-time baseball announcers would say, Jerry, if you're in the neighborhood, drop in. There are plenty of seats. I guess you'd have time in Boston to hop a plane and get here for game 2, wouldn't you? Fouled back again by Durham. Still 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, it's no more Frank Thomas in the lineup for the White Sox, having surgery on that foot. Out for the remainder of the season. Durham moving into that number 3 spot in the batting order. Thomas and Manuel, a rocky relationship this year on a couple of occasions.
Goes to first, gets Durham after checking Wilson back to second base. There are 2 gone.
I guess for the most part of the year, the manager wanted Frank Thomas to play first base. Frank wanted a DH because he had that painful foot problem. There was a case later on when he called on Thomas to pinch hit in the ball game, and Frank didn't feel like he could do it because of the foot problem. That caused a lot of problems. They sent him back home and eventually had the surgery.
Been a different year for Manuel this year. Remember last year he had Albert Bell, Robin Ventura, and Frank Thomas as his big 3 hitters. A little more veterans around here a year ago. A lot more rookies this time around for the White Sox. They've had 12 different players make their major league debuts here in 1999. As they say, they build for the future. Greg Wilson at second base, 2 outs here, home half the first. Maglio Ordonez at the plate for the White Sox. Helps Merker by chasing that one.
See that
balls, 2 strikes.
See that guard he's wearing on his left shin. Game prior to the off day yesterday, fouled the ball off the shin, had to be taken out of the ball game. Probably would not have played last night had this regular game been played. Good player right here.
Merker has him down in the count, 2 strikes. Ordonez will follow back. Good chance for a souvenir if you're in the crowd here at Comiskey Park. The odds are good. Walk down a couple rows, pick it up, go back to your seat. Nice and easy. Greg Wilson with the double. He's at second base with 2 outs. Sox have a 2-0 lead over Chicago here in the bottom of the first inning. Ordonez fouls off another one. Sunny and cool here in the Windy City. It will probably get much cooler, obviously, as the doubleheader goes on. Low expected to be in the upper 40s here in Chicago tonight. That Maple Leafs jersey probably will come in handy. One ball, 2 strikes.
Oh, large group coming in here, a group of about 15.
Merker missing down and away. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Out of the 212 people here, Jerry, I think about 54 of them have Red Sox hats. The Red Sox are well represented here, at least percentage-wise, in a small gathering, as Merker misses out and away at 3-2. Full count on Ordonez.
That's that changeup we were talking about that last time out had trouble with. Again, that last changeup high.
Studying the lineup tonight. Time called by plate umpire Dale Scott. Still the full count on Ordonez. Wilson at second base, 2 outs, a 2-0 Red Sox lead here in the bottom of the first inning. BU fan in addition to the Red Sox. Long battle is won by Ordonez. 2 on now with 2 outs. Ordonez draws the 2-out walk.
Going to bring a visit from Joe Kerrigan, the Red Sox pitching coach. A long first inning. A couple of runs for the Red Sox, a threat for the White Sox.
Merker struggled his last outing against Toronto on September 23rd at Fenway, going 4 2/3 innings. Walks hurt him in that one as he walked 4 in that game. That was his first start since coming back following that collision with Wilton Barris out on the West Coast at Seattle.
Pat Rapp scheduled to go in game 2 today for the Red Sox, and after that the pitching situation kind of up in the air depending on if the Red Sox clinch. We may see some changes. Pedro would probably pitch maybe an inning or 2 come Friday or Saturday against Baltimore. Just a little tune-up before the start of the playoffs.
2 on, 2 outs. Here's Carlos Lee, the designated hitter. You certainly won't get Jimmy Williams to say that. He doesn't want to talk about anything past today. 295 for Carlos Lee, 14 homers and 77 runs batted in. And he continues to say we still have work to do. This club has a 2-0 lead here, bottom half of the first inning, but Kent Merker is struggling with a lot of pitches. Down on strikes goes Lee, and that will retire the side. White Sox will strand a pair. 1 complete here in game 1. And Merker and the Red Sox up on Chicago 2-0.
Back in Chicago, Red Sox 2-0 lead. Let's take a look at the batting leaders, brought to you by New England Ford dealers. Nomar at .357. Derek Jeter 349, Martinez 342, Bernie Williams and Manny Ramirez the top 5 in the American League.
Red Sox enjoying a 2-0 lead. Jason Varitek leads off here, top of the second inning. It'll be Varitek followed by Damon Buford and then Darren Lewis. Battle of left-handers here in game 1 at Comiskey Park. Jim Parquet matched up against the Red Sox Kent Merker. Excellent offensive numbers for Varitek, 273 with 19 homers and 74 runs batted in. Varitek had a couple of hits, including his 19th home run of the year in the Red Sox win on Sunday at Fenway Park. Has a 4-game hitting streak and has hit at a .314 clip now since the All-Star break. Chops this one foul down the third base line.
Higher batting average for Varitek from the right side of the plate, 290. More power from the left side. 16 of his 19 home runs as a left-handed hitter. Foul
back on the screen. The game was called rather early here yesterday. ESPN has opened up a new Sports Zone sports bar restaurant here in the Chicago area. Number the Red Sox going there last night. They had a private room to watch the Oakland A's battle the Anaheim Angels. One home run giving Anaheim the early lead, but Oakland coming back to win last night 9-3 is Veritek thrown out here by Craig Wilson, and there's one out in the second.
They didn't call the game off early enough, though. We could have saved $40 had they done it about a half hour earlier. $20 to get out here and $20 to get back.
Watched it rain all the way out, watched it rain all the way back. But a much nicer day today in Chicago for the doubleheader as Damon Buford comes to the plate for the Red Sox. Most of the gray clouds are out. Bright blue overhead as it's fouled back off the mask of Fordyce, and Buford's down 2 strikes. Still pretty cloudy this morning when I poked my nose out of the hotel. The waves really crashing down there in Lake Michigan, but a much nicer day as the day has gone on. Strike 3 called. First strikeout of the afternoon for Parquet.
Back to a curveball that time for Parquet. Started away from that right-handed hitter and tried to pick up the outside corner. It's a pitch the right-hander will quit on. And that time picks up the corner for the strikeout.
Number 9 hitter for the Sox, the right fielder Darren Lewis. 44 for Darren, a couple of home runs, 38 runs batted in. Jim Parquet is 0-8 in 12 starts since the All-Star break. Again, has not won since July the 7th when he beat Kansas City. 0-2 with 1 no decision against the Red Sox this year. 3-0 pitch to Lewis, taking all the way. There's a strike. Missed away, ball 4. Red Sox will get a base runner with 2 outs when we go to the top of the order, and Jose Offerman. .25 hitter at Fenway, a .263 hitter Offerman has been this year on the road. Takes a called strike from Parquet. Offerman opened the game with a single to right, scored the Red Sox first run.
Sure, Lewis has the green light here with 2 outs, and if he feels like he can get a good jump to try to get himself in the scoring position. 16 steals. Second on the Red Sox. Offerman leads with 18, then Nomar with 14.
Lewis goes, pitches the ball, the throw down from Fordyce in time to nail Lewis at second base to end the inning. A strike by Fordyce. Darren Lewis is caught stealing, and that'll end the Red Sox second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We played 1.5 here in game 1. Red Sox lead the White Sox 2-0. Back here at Comiskey Park at 2-0 Red Sox lead. White Sox bat here, home half the second. Chris Singleton to lead it off. Paul Konerko and Darren Jackson to follow. And Merker threw a lot of pitches in the first inning, was able to keep the White Sox off the scoreboard. Singleton at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's a 300 hitter this year. He has 17 homers, 72 runs batted in. Candidate for Rookie of the Year in the American League. Carlos Beltran of Kansas City remains the favorite. Others with a very good shot this year. Jeff Zimmerman down at Texas. Tim Hudson has done very well in a half a season in the Oakland starting rotation.
A lot of talk about the possibility of Singleton being a candidate for Rookie of the Year. He's got some great numbers, Bob. 300 batting average, 72 runs batted in. Can steal a base. He's got 19 steals.
Hit for the cycle earlier this year against Kansas City. Fly ball left field. Roy O'Leary makes the catch. 1 out. One out here in the White Sox second inning. Paul Konerko. .292 for Konerko this year. 23 homers and 76 runs batted in. Konerko walked 3 times in the White Sox last game, a win up at Minnesota, and hit his 23rd home run of the season Sunday in Minneapolis. There's a first homer for Konerko since August the 30th against Seattle. White Sox 8th in the American League in hitting. They're 11th in runs scored. They're 10th in home runs. Downstairs, it's 3-1. Talked before, Jerry, about perhaps ongoing auditions for certain Red Sox starters for a spot in the postseason starting rotation. Obviously, Pedro has the #1 thing wrapped up. Red Saberhagen #2, but things a little unsettled after that.
Well, my guess, Bob, is it's going to be they'd love, I think, Merker to take one of those spots, to have a left-hander in the rotation, something the Red Sox really have not had just about all season. And the way Ramon Martinez has pitched the last couple of times out, he's certainly a possibility. You've got Tim Wakefield, you've got Pat Rapp, although you would think Rapp may be a long man out of the bullpen.
Your bullpen spots that are nailed down. Real Cormier is the left-handed specialist. Rich Garces, Rod Beck, and Derek Lowe. They've all pitched well.
The other thing, too, is Merker could also go to the bullpen, and you'd have both. Managers like to have 2 lefties out there, especially from about that 6th, 7th inning on.
Somebody has to walk. Isn't that easy to pick up a souvenir that way? Didn't even really have to hurry.
Not a mad rush for it right now. A little slow at the concession stand.
Swing and a miss. Merker gets his man. Konerko goes down on strikes. Second strikeout of the night, afternoon for Kent Merker.
That's a good changeup that time. You'll notice the ball down and also tailing away from Konerko. Very good changeup that time by Merker. I think he'd prefer to have it a little bit more outside, but at least it was in a good location down low.
Two outs in the Chicago second. Darren Jackson, the left fielder, is the batter. Jackson spent some time on the disabled list this year from late July to mid-August with a back problem.
A veteran player that Manuel likes a lot, and he likes having him on his team because he's very good with the young players.
Modest numbers for the year, 273, 4 homers and 14 runs batted in. Drives this one to left field, over and in, and off the glove out in left field of O'Leary, and going for 2 now is Darren Jackson. He will go in with a 2-out double.
Almost a one-handed swing by Jackson on the changeup from Kent Mercker. Looked like for a second O'Leary may make a shoestring catch on it. Instead, it's going to bounce away, and a good hustle by Jackson. He'll find himself in scoring position. He's just protecting the plate, trying to avoid a strikeout, and makes the contact, the line drive, and nice effort by O'Leary, but he'll end up at second base.
Runner in scoring position with 2 outs for the White Sox. Fordyce, Chicago catcher, will foul it back towards the upper deck. 91 for Fordyce, 8 homers, 45 runs batted in. White Sox picked him up from Cincinnati right at the end of spring training this year. Jackson at second base, 2 outs. Bottom half of the second inning. Red Sox lead the White Sox 2-0. Fordyce lifts it in the air to center field. Damon Buford has it tracked for Boston. He is there, makes the catch, and that retires the side. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. 2 complete here in the Windy City. Red Sox lead the White Sox 2-0.
Back at Comiskey Park in Chicago, the Red Sox have the 2-0 lead after 2. Well, what's brewing tomorrow night in the front row? Well, the hockey season is here, and the Bruins are once again counting on old number 77 to lead in the quest for Lord Stanley. We'll find out what makes Bork so special as he enters his 21st NHL season. And Rhode Island was the host to this year's Gravity Games. Meet the street lugers, skateboarders, and bike riders that tore up the tracks and streets of Providence. Don't miss a minute tomorrow night at 6:30 in the front row.
Here at Comiskey Park tonight, the Red Sox have a 2-0 lead. Magic number is 1. Jose Offerman leads off here, top of the 3rd inning. Makes a called strike from Chicago lefty Jim Parquet. Offerman 269 from the right side this year with 3 of his 7 home runs. Offerman was at the plate, you recall, when Darren Lewis was caught stealing to end the top of the 2nd inning. Opened the ball game with a single to right. Came in on the sacrifice fly by Mike Stanley back in the 1st inning as the Red Sox jumped to a 1-0 lead. Sox got 2 in the 1st. Sacrifice fly by Stanley. RBI double by Butch Husky. And with 2-0 lead over Chicago. Offerman here draws a leadoff walk in the 3rd.
Howdy Contreras, the pitching coach for the Chicago White Sox, former pitching coach of the Seattle Mariners, took this job halfway through last season after being fired by Seattle.
Fired by Seattle after a particularly rough weekend by the Mariners bullpen at Fenway Park. John Valentin looks at ball 1. Valentin lined out to Wilson at 3rd base back in the 1st inning. John is 0 for 1 so far tonight. 1 on Valentin. Valentin fouls it back to the mezzanine. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. Offerman aboard with a leadoff walk. Down of a ball and 2 strikes here on John Valentin as the Red Sox open the 3rd. Valentin called out on strikes. Parquet with the fastball over the inside corner. Parquet picks up his 2nd strikeout.
That Buford on the curveball in the 2nd inning. This time the inside fastball right on that inside corner to Valentin. 2 strikes on John, trying to protect the plate, thinking about the ball away. Instead, zips that fastball inside to pick up the strikeout. One thing we've noticed about Parquet in his starts against the Red Sox, he's not afraid to come inside against right-handers. He comes inside there against Nomar.
Nomar has had a torrid month of September. .396 on the year. Again leads the American League in hitting coming into play tonight. Eric Jeter, the Yankees, has a tough task later on tonight. He'll be facing Mike Mussina at Camden Yards. Offerman held by Konerko at first base. He's there with 1 out. 2-0 pitch here to Nomar, and it's outside for ball 3. 18 steals, but caught 12 times this year, Jose Offerman. That's a strike if an ease. 3-1 on Garciaparra. Nomar doubled, scored a run back in the 1st inning. A 3-1 pitch. Loop to left field. Charging on to make the catch there is Darren Jackson. Hustling back to first base is Jose Offerman. Garciaparra out on a fly ball to Jackson left. 2 going for the Red Sox here in the 3rd.
Looks like it was going to be a gapper for Nomar, but it wouldn't sink. Just kind of hung up long enough to give Jackson a chance to get over and make the play on it. Then it looked like Jackson was going to be able to get a double play on Offerman. Offerman also thinking the ball was going to drop in. He was right around second base and had to scurry back to first. Not to be doubled up. That throws a little bit off the mark anyway. Ball wouldn't sink.
Leadoff walk for Offerman. He's still at first base. 2 outs later. Here's Mike Stanley. Outside corner for a strike. Stanley got the first run of the game home for the Red Sox with his sacrifice fly to Darren Jackson in left field back in the 1st inning. Stanley went 1 for 4, and the Red Sox win Monday over Baltimore at Fenway Park. Now has a 7-game hitting streak. Parquet this time missing away as he falls behind 2-1. Parquet, sandwich pick between the 1st and 2nd rounds by the White Sox back in 1997. Drafted out of UCLA. been an effective pitch for Parquet. That fastball on the inner half. 2-2 the count. And up high for ball 3. Parquet is 23 years of age, a native of California. Three-two pitch. Stanley rifles it to center field. Singleton goes back, catches the line drive, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, 1 left. 2.5 played here at Comiskey Park in Chicago. Red Sox with the advantage, 2-0. Back here at Comiskey Park, a 2-0 lead for Ken Mercker and the Red Sox as the White Sox come to bat here, bottom half of the third. Top of the order here, Caruso, who has a number of bunt base hits this year. Bunted and missed that one. 1 strike the count. Infield hits this year. Guzman of Minnesota 38. Then comes Homer Bush and his great speed at Toronto, and then Caruso. Ground ball right down the first baseline, stays fair, and Mercker comes up with the ball and tags out Caruso. Looked like it was going to kick foul, but never did.
It was foul. It looked like it was in foul territory and then hit a divot and came back into fair territory. Caruso thought it was going to be a foul ball. He stopped running. And you see it tap down that first baseline, and you'll see it is in foul territory. That's why Caruso stopped. There's the bounce back to fair territory, and Mercker will tag him out. Mercker might have hurt himself too making that tag, maybe in the fingers.
It was on September the 6th that Mercker ran into Wilton Veras out on the West Coast. Suffered the rib cage injury. Jammed the fingers there with a tag on Caruso. We'll take another look at it.
Here you see right here, it's in foul territory, and there's that bounce back in the fair territory, and Mercker just standing right there to pick up the baseball and apply that tag at the same time. Looks like everything's okay with Mercker.
So 1 out here in the White Sox third. Craig Wilson, the Chicago third baseman, looks at ball 1. Wilson had a couple home runs against the Red Sox at a game earlier this year. That was on June 27th at Fenway Park. Both of the Wilson home runs coming off Tim Wakefield. That's a strike. White Sox won that game 7-6 at Fenway on June the 27th. White Sox are 3-6 against Boston this year. Two pitch, grounded to short. Nomar Garcia-Parra backhands it up to Stanley, and there are 2 outs for Chicago here in the 3rd inning.
Now the one good thing for Nomar, it doesn't look like that wrist is bothering him throwing to first base. You still see that he's got it wrapped with that white tape, but apparently no problem throwing the ball. Ground ball by Wilson to the right of Nomar, the backhand. And then that good strong throw across to Diamond, right at Mike Stanley to get the out.
Nomar hit by Reyes of Baltimore, you recall, last Sunday at Fenway Park. Checking in there with second base umpire Al Clark. Ray Durham here bats for the White Sox, takes one up high. Troy O'Leary back in the sunshine in left field to make that catch. Had to shield his eyes and retires the side. 1-2-3 go the White Sox in the third. 3 complete here at Comiskey Park. Red Sox 2, Chicago nothing. Back here at Comiskey Park in Chicago, the Red Sox have a 2-0 lead over the White Sox. We go to the top of the 4th inning. Time now for our Aflac trivia question. Who is the only man to manage both the Red Sox and the White Sox? The only man to manage both the Red Sox and the White Sox. Will have the answer for you the next half inning. Butch Husky leads off here for Boston. Troy O'Leary, Jason Varitek to follow. Husky rifled a double into the left field corner, his first at bat to score Nomar Garciaparra, give the Sox a 2-0 lead. It's still 2-0 as Butch leads off the 4th here against left-hander Jim Parquet.
So we're talking about the last inning where Parquet will work inside against those right-handers, try to keep them off the plate.
Towards third, Craig Wilson makes the play and throws out Butch Husky. 1 gone here in the 4th inning. Where's Wally, by the way? I haven't seen him since we left the ballpark yesterday following the rainout.
Well, he's been very nervous about this clinching game, and he said he wanted to watch part of the game from the stands. The White Sox said they would hook him up with some good seats, but I don't. Oh, there he is. Holy mackerel, where is he? Well, that's quite the seat they gave him.
His connections apparently here aren't too good, huh?
What's he got up there? Some popcorn and a Coke, I guess.
Roy O'Leary fouls back. Where is the upper deck, right?
Way up the top in the upper deck.
Peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
Still smiling, but I think the White Sox could have done a little better with their seating. We can get him a little closer to home plate.
Why didn't he want to sit in here?
He's nervous. He wants to get this clincher over with.
Roy O'Leary fouls it behind the plate. Fordyce comes back, but that's on the screen. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Looks like O'Leary may have cracked the bat on that foul ball.
Red Sox, as mentioned, have a 6-game-3 edge on Chicago in the season series. They've outscored Chicago this year 62-28. They had that one game back on June 26 where they scored the 11 runs in the first inning at Fenway Park and beat Chicago 17-1 that day.
You have to remember this next time the White Sox come to Fenway. We'll see where their family passes end up.
Leary had a notion. They make the appeal there to Brian O'Nora at third base. He said Troy did not go, so it's a full count on O'Leary. Batting here with the bases empty and 1 out in the top of the 4th. 3-2 pitch, chopped foul, and back of Dave Joust in the first base coaching box and down the right field line. Red Sox with 90 wins, 66 losses on the year. They're 5.5 up on Oakland with 6 games to play. They're 4.5 behind the Yankees. Parquet missing inside to the left-handed hitting O'Leary, and that's the 3rd walk issued by Parquet in the game. Wally hit Rush Street last night?
No. No, a little something with Oprah, but we'll save that for game 2. Not very pleasant either.
Enjoying himself so far, although the seat's not too good. As you mentioned, he has that perpetual smile. Sox with a base runner, 1 out here in the 4th inning. Jason Varitek, who grounded out to Wilson at third back in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1. 2 runs, 3 hits for the Red Sox. No runs, 2 hits so far for the White Sox. That wrap goes for the Red Sox in game 2. Aaron Mayette will get the starting call for Chicago. Already the 70th pitch of the game for Parquet, and it's outside, up and away from Jason Varitek. It's 3-0. Parquet, the first player selected in the June '97 draft to reach the majors, made his debut halfway through last year. Jason Varitek here pops it up to right field. Long run for Ordonez, will not get there, and that's just foul. Right down the right field line. First base umpire Bill Miller going out to make the call. Varitek going after the 3-0 pitch and fouling it down the right field line. To Varitek, it's popped up. Ray Durham backing up on the outfield grass, makes the call and the catch. 2 outs for the Sox here in the 4th.
A lot of pitches for Parquet here into the 4th inning, but still only the 2 runs and 3 hits for the Red Sox. All 3 of those hits coming back in the 1st inning.
72 pitches thus far for the 23-year-old lefty. Pitch strike to Damon Buford. In the hole at short, Caruso makes the play. The throw down to second base, and it's in time for the force out on Troy O'Leary to end the inning. It's about the only play Caruso had. Does get O'Leary at second base on the force to end the top of the 4th. We played 3.5 here in Chicago. Wally taking it in along with about 200 others here in game 1. It's 2-0 Red Sox. Back here at Comiskey Park, bottom half the 4th inning. A 2-0 lead for the Red Sox. Time to answer our Aflac trivia question now. Who was the only man to manage both the Red Sox and the Chicago White Sox? Hugh Duffy. Is Paul Carroll back? Hugh Duffy, the White Sox 1910, 1911, Boston 1921, and 1922. That one stumped us. Hugh Duffy, the only man to manage both the Red Sox and the White Sox. And Merker has a 2-0 lead. Bottom half of the 4th inning. Maglio Ordonez leads off for Chicago. Ordonez rocks this one down the right field line, and that's foul. Long run for Darren Lewis. A lot of Red Sox fans on hand here for the ball game tonight, including a gentleman we have upstairs here in our broadcast booth, Dan Lucier, who is a native of Foxborough, Massachusetts, now works for the Chicago Blackhawks, and he has been kind enough to drop by and visit Jerry and I. He's kept in touch via telephone, watches all the games over DirecTV, and is going to drop off a chair for us from the Chicago Stadium, the old home of the Blackhawks. Here's Ordonez with a liner to right, and in to play it on one hop out there is Darren Lewis. Ordonez reaches to open the 4th inning. That's the 3rd White Sox hit.
A little bit of a scuffle recently for Ordonez getting base hit, so he must appreciate this one. Darren Lewis with a nice effort. He'll go into the slide, but only be able to knock the ball down, and Ordonez at first base with a leadoff single here in the 4th.
Leadoff man on for Chicago. Carlos Lee, the designated hitter at the plate. And we, Jerry, right here in the broadcast booth, have an authentic seat from Chicago Stadium.
Is that one of the cheap seats, or is that a box seat, or what is that?
I believe that's
second balcony.
The second balcony. Looks like it's gotten a lot of use over the years. This one is fouled back. I don't know if we can get a shot of it here. This thing sort of beat up. Looks like one of the seats at the old Boston Garden. You can see her. Here you go. Look at that. That's a classic. We were talking about the closing of Tiger Stadium earlier and some of the ballparks closing around Major League Baseball this year and how we try and pick up artifacts from each and every one of them. I don't know how I'm going to get this home, Dan. Have to take it to Camden Yards and then sort of lug it along. But we certainly thank you. Now, Dan has watched a lot of our telecasts. He was saying he was watching the ball game from Toronto when Jerry brought the hot dog wrapper from Tiger Stadium in Detroit over to Toronto. Mentioned we had a brick from the Boston Garden, one brick from the old Detroit Olympia. This is Jose Offerman going back for the Red Sox, making the catch, and there's one out.
This is another good changeup by Merker down and away from Lee. Difficult play for Offerman. I think that breeze blowing the ball back out toward right field. And I think it might have surprised Jose a little bit. He's kind of coasting back now, but has to turn it on a little bit and still able to make the catch. Again, Offerman very good at those pop-ups in the outfield.
One out here in the fourth inning. Here's Chris Singleton. Singleton takes one up and away. 1 ball, no strikes. You ever save anything, Jerry, from the old ballparks?
I think I have a brick from Comiskey across the street. That's about it. I don't even know where that is now. I'm not big on the memorabilia stuff.
My favorite one was the brick from the Boston Garden. I had the brick, and then I drove by the garden. I noticed most of it was still standing, and I was wondering where the brick actually came from. Here's a base hit by Singleton to right field. Ordonez will stop at second base, and there's 2 aboard with 1 out. And so many of the old ballparks are going out now. They closed Tiger Stadium in Detroit earlier this week. Recon Park in San Francisco is going out. The Astrodome down in Houston will be closing its doors. Next year, County Stadium in Milwaukee. There was a time when the old parks used to go just quietly, like when they closed Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. I mean, there was no major celebration. They just basically played the last game there and then moved over to the new ballpark, and then nostalgia became the wave. Detroit the other day had a sellout crowd. Actually, they had sellout crowds all 3 games over the weekend against Kansas City as they closed the doors on Tiger Stadium. You remember the emotional farewell that we in New England gave to the Boston Garden when the Bruins and Celtics closed that building and moved to the Fleet Center. You can only imagine when the new Fenway opens and the old Fenway closes, the ceremonies that will take place in old Fenway Park at the time. Certainly, Jerry, you'd want a brick from Fenway.
If there's one left over, I'll take it, but see how that goes.
One ball, 1 strike. Paul Konerko was a strikeout victim back in the second inning. And Merker given a 2-0 lead by the Red Sox. They got 2 in the top of the first. Keep looking at this chair. The hot dog wrapper was easy. The chair is going to be a little more difficult to transport.
Now you'll find a way, I'm sure.
Fly ball here, right center field. One pretty well hit. And Buford in front of the outfield fence flags it down. Tagging at second base and moving to third is Ordonez.
Now Merker got away with one there. That was a high pitch, a high changeup. And Konerko will chase Buford all the way back to the wall. That's not the location Merker wants that pitch. And it was almost a 3-run home run. That ball just kept carrying and carrying, and finally Buford out toward the fence to make the catch. Ordonez tags at second. He'll move up a base to third now with 2 outs. inconsistent for Merker with that off-speed pitch. He's thrown some very good ones that have been down in the zone, but again, a couple like that last one. He's fortunate that ball stayed in the ballpark.
First and third now with 2 outs. That leaves it up to Darren Jackson, who swings and misses. Jackson doubled to left. He's 1 for 1 so far in the ball game. Another easy souvenir. Pays to get here early. Another one pop foul. Couple of hits. They've both been for extra bases for Jackson against Merker in his career. And called by Dale Scott behind the plate. Sox again with 2 in the first inning. Sacrifice fly by Stanley. 2-out double by Butch Husky. A 2-0 lead for Kent Merker as he faces the White Sox here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Waste that one up high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. .75 pitches already in the ball game for Merker. Both Merker and Parquet throwing a few here in the first game of a doubleheader. Pat Rapp and Aaron Mayette to go in game 2. Runner goes. 1-2 pitch is down low for ball 2. It's a stolen base for Chris Singleton.
Well, he picked a good pitch to go on. He got the changeup from Merker down in the dirt, and Voracek had no play at all. So now the potential tying run in scoring position for the White Sox. And a full count on the hitter Jackson. Jackson was down 0-2 and now has worked the count full. Three-2 pitch. This could be trouble for the Red Sox coming on as O'Leary will not get there in time, and 2 runs will score on the play. Stolen base pays dividends. Jackson bloops a single to left, and just like that, the ball game's tied 2-2. Now that's just about the same kind of swing he had last time. He got the double in the 2nd inning. Once again, it's the changeup, and again, it's about a one-handed swing by Darren Jackson, just trying to protect the plate. Soft line drive. It'll drop in front of O'Leary, and with the steal, the White Sox tie the game at 2. Ordonez will score, and Singleton to follow, and it's a whole new ball game.
Red Sox 2 in the first, White Sox 2 here in the 4th. Two runs, 3 hits for the Red Sox. 2 runs, 5 hits now for the White Sox. Oh, they've got him picked off. Aaron Jackson in a rundown, and Jackson is tagged out to end the inning, but his 2-run single ties things. We're 2-2 here after 4. NESN's exclusive coverage of Boston Red Sox baseball is brought to you in part by your New England Ford dealer. Stop by your New England Ford dealer for great savings on new Ford cars and trucks. By Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete. By Gillette Mach 3, the first triple blade razor. By Hertz. Nobody does it exactly like Hertz. By Heineken. It's all about the beer, Heineken. And by Bell Atlantic Mobile. The cell phone is only as good as the network it's on. Choose Bell Atlantic Mobile. Cool but sunny here in Chicago today. Comiskey Park, 1-2. The Red Sox and the White Sox are tied 2-2 as we go to the top of the 5th inning. Battle of the left-handers, Kent Merker against Jim Parquet. Omar Garcia-Parra has a double, has scored a run. Darren Jackson has a 2-run single that tied things up in the bottom half of the 4th. So it's a 2-2 ball game as we head to the 5th. Darren Lewis to lead it off against Jim Parquet. Then back to the top of the order, Jose Offerman and John Valentin. Singleton in center field is there. 1 pitch, 1 gone here to start the 5th. Mentioned we had Dan Lucier, formerly of Foxborough, in the broadcast booth with us. He's with the Chicago Blackhawks, informed us that Tom Johnson, the old Bruin, undergoing back surgery. The Blackhawks, along with Dan, want to send him their best wishes as he recovers. We certainly want to add to that. Look forward to seeing Tom up and around again at the Fleet Center. Bruins, of course, will open here on Nesson Saturday night, dropping the puck against the Carolina Hurricane in the game you can see at 7 o'clock. Dan's mother, Joan, lives down on the Cape. Want to send our best to her as well. Red Sox 2, White Sox 2. Top half of the 5th here at Comiskey. Jose Offerman swings and misses.
We'll see how Parquet reacts. His team comes back to tie the ball game up. He got a quick out with Lewis. He's quickly ahead of Offerman.
Offerman so far singled to right, scored a run in the 1st, walked in the 3rd. Ball here to right field. Ordonez is there, makes the catch. Couple of fly ball out, served up by Parquet in the 5th inning. Two outs. John Valentin bats. Breaking ball from Parquet for a strike. Valentin 0 for 2 tonight. He's lined out to Wilson at 3rd and was called out on strikes. Red Sox 2 runs, 3 hits. Everything happening back in the 1st inning. Red Sox do not have a hit since the 1st. Parquet has walked 3. Here's the 1-1 from the Chicago lefty. He skips that one up there. 2-1 now the count. That'll even things at 2-2 on Valentin.
Well, he's pitching a little bit better than the numbers would indicate in the second half of the season for Parquet.
Reaches out, rolls it foul down the 3rd baseline. So still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Sox in the 1st inning got a single from Offerman, a double from Garcia-Parra, sacrifice fly from Stanley, and a double from Butch Husky, resulting in 2 runs. They have not had a hit since. Valentin shoots it foul past Wendell Kim. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. There's a base hit past the dive of Durham into center field. 2-out single for Valentin. That'll give Nomar Garciaparra a chance here in the Red Sox 5th inning.
Good battle put on by Valentin, and at back, fouled off pitches inside, away, and finally on a pitch away will hit it hard past Ray Durham at second base. Give Nomar a chance here with a couple of outs. Good at bat by Valentin. First hit for the Red Sox since back in that first inning.
Red Sox get a base runner with 2 outs in the 5th, and here's Nomar. 1 for 2 so far in the game. Up and in on Garciaparra. 1 ball, no strikes. Nomar 356 on the year. Derek Jeter next in line at 349 in the American League batting derby. Again, Jeter facing the Orioles and Mike Mussina tonight at Camden Yards. Nomar hits this one pretty good to left field. Jackson is back at the wall at the 375 sign. Gone! A home run for Garciaparra. And the Red Sox reclaim the lead 4-2. Valentin's 2-out single extends the inning, and Nomar Garciaparra puts it into the left field seats, and the Red Sox catapult into the lead 4-2 over the White Sox.
Now 2 huge at bats for the Red Sox. First Valentin to keep the inning alive, give Nomar a chance, and then Nomar with home run number 27, RBIs 103 and 104 to once again give the Red Sox that 2-run lead. So the White Sox tie it up. Right back come the Red Sox to take the lead. Mike Stanley takes one outside. 1 ball, no strikes. There's a base hit by Stanley. Red Sox have gone 3 innings without a base hit. First 2 batters retired here in the 5th, and 3 straight hits. Single by Valentin, home run by Garciaparra, now the single by Stanley. Well, Nomar almost has 2 home runs in this ball game. Remember that double he hit back in the first inning was about halfway up the left field wall. This time, no question about it, high and deep, and that's going to start to get some activity out in that bullpen for the White Sox. One more look at the Garciaparra home run swing. See that almost no stride by Nomar. Very quick hands. And that'll be out toward that White Sox bullpen and above the bullpen in the bleachers.
Wally has moved seating locations. He's got something he's studying. Is that a scorecard?
Oh, I see what he's. All those guys right there are scouts. Of course, the Red Sox going to postseason play. And what you have is you have a lot of scouts from the National League teams and also Cleveland, New York, and all the teams involved in the American League, Texas. You've got Arizona scouts. So what he's doing, he's probably taking a peek at what they're writing down about the Red Sox and relay that to the Red Sox. So a little espionage here for Wally.
And a much better seat location than he had earlier.
Yeah, White Sox took care of him. You can get some information down there.
Butch Husky bats here for Boston. Husky so far doubled, driving in a run in the first inning, bounced out to Wilson at third base in the 4th. One ball, 1 strike. At his scorecard.
These are all surrounded by scouts. That guy there to his left, he has at the clock. He's timing all the runners.
Five pitches for Parquet. Husky pops it up. Ray Durham Backing up on the outfield grass. Durham will make the catch. That retires the side, but Sox get 2 on the home run by Nomar Garciaparra. They break the tie, and the Red Sox have the lead 4-2 after 4.5. On top. Well, back here, bottom half of the 5th inning, a 4-2 lead for the Red Sox over the White Sox. Time now to check out what's on tap. Brought to you by Heineken. Coming up after this one, Game 2 right here on NESN. Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, also on NESN. And on to Baltimore for the weekend. Friday, NESN. Saturday, the JCS New England Television Network. And Sunday at 1:30, the regular season finale back on NESN. Red Sox have a 4-2 lead. Brooke Fordyce leading off here against Kent Mercker in the bottom half of the 5th inning. Goes after the first pitch, pops it up. Garciaparra back on the outfield grass. Nomar is there, makes the catch, and there's one gone.
Well, now we'll see how Mercker responds to regaining the lead at 4-2. Both left-handers with a lot of pitches in this ball game, but fairly low score.
Sox with 2 in the 1st inning, 2 more in the 5th. They've got the 4-2 lead. Mike Caruso at the top of the order takes one down and away. 1 ball, no strikes. Caruso 0 for 2 so far. He's grounded out to Offerman at second base, then bounced one right down the first baseline that Mercker handled unassisted in the 3rd with the tag. Mercker here high in the air and throws Caruso out over at first. So Mercker helps his own cause. 2 outs here in the 5th. Nice play.
Red Sox have a bunch of pretty good fielding pitchers, and Mercker the latest. Nice play as he'll fall off to that third base side, which helps being a left-handed pitcher. Almost threw the ball away at first base, but still had plenty of time to get Caruso. Nice vertical leap by Mercker.
2 quick outs. Craig Wilson, the White Sox third baseman, bats. Wilson has a double and 2 trips. Two balls, 2 strikes. Bases empty, 2 outs, bottom half of the 5th inning. First of 2 here at Comiskey Park. Payoff pitch, ground ball in the hole at short, came up on Nomar, knocks it down, recovers, throws not nearly in time to get Wilson, who will reach with 2 outs.
Well, he got a bad hop right at the end. He went down properly for the backhand, had the glove low to the ground, but the ball's going to bounce up and hit him, look like on the arm somewhere. This is a good position to make the play. It just bounces right off the glove, and that's going to go as an error on Garciaparra. Well, he's had a couple of tough errors recently on those backhanded plays.
Had a tough error at Fenway Park the other day. Picks up one here tonight at Comiskey.
17 errors total now on the season for Garciaparra.
Ray Durham bats for Chicago. Durham has bounced back to Mercker and is flied out to O'Leary in left field. He's 0 for 2. pitching on the air with 2 outs here in the 5th inning. All over there by Stanley. Mercury ahead of Durham, 2 strikes. We'll waste one up and away. 1 ball, 2 strikes now the count. And 2-2 on Durham. Murphy 6 wins as a starter for St. Louis this year. Has won his only decision with the Red Sox. Fly ball here, right field. Darren Lewis will run it down, and that retires the side. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. 5 complete here in Chicago in Game 1. Red Sox lead the White Sox 4-2. Back here at Comiskey Park, top half the 6th inning, a 4-2 lead for the Red Sox over the Chicago White Sox. Don't forget the Bruins season opener. That comes your way Saturday. Bruins in Carolina. They'll drop the puck at 7 o'clock. Rose Marakian and the entire Nesson crew back to welcome the Bruins for the 1999-2000 season. Tom Karen with Bruins Digest for you at 6:30. Dale and Gord with the call of the game following at 7. Roy O'Leary leads off here in the 6th inning. Ball, 1 strike on O'Leary. Jason Varitek, Damon Buford to follow. Bruins at 7 o'clock. Bruins Digest returns at 6:30. The half-hour pregame show, which will be hosted by Tom Karen, will lead you right up to the opening faceoff. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Red Sox with 6 games remaining, including this one tonight, and then followed by the second half of the doubleheader. 1 here in Chicago tomorrow, and then 3 in Baltimore over the weekend to wrap up the regular season. O'Leary serves a base hit to left field. Up and goes the opposite way. Leadoff single here in the 6th. Let's go to our Nesson studios. Welcome Bob Rogers to our broadcast. Bob.
All right, Bob, good evening, guys. Hello again, everybody. Last night, Sammy Sosa belted his 62nd home run to regain the Major League lead. Just moments ago, Mark McGwire right back on top again as well. That's number 62 for him. Game, by the way, is 3-2 in the 6th. It's the first game of the doubleheader.
And a doubleheader, of course, here at Comiskey Park as well. Red Sox leading 4-2 here in Game 1. O'Leary aboard with the leadoff single. Jason Varitek at the plate. Varitek with the bunt, drops it back. Marquet will make the play unassisted. Bunt works to perfection. O'Leary in scoring position with 1 out.
Jimmy Williams playing for another run here in the middle part of the ball game. Varitek with the nice sacrifice. Trying to get that ball down the first base line. Not quite that far down the line, but Parquet only had the 1 play, and that was to get Jason at first base, so he gets the job done and gets a man in scoring position.
Batter is Damon Buford. Short hop by Wilson at 3rd. He throws Buford out. No advancement by O'Leary. O'Leary stuck there now at 2nd with 2 going.
Yeah, it looked like he wanted to try to go to 3rd, but then was not sure. And when you're not sure, you're best to stay in scoring position at 2nd base. A little impatient for Damon Buford that time, picking on that first curveball for the ground out.
O'Leary at 2nd base, 2 outs. That leaves it up to Darren Lewis. Lewis walked in the 2nd, was caught stealing by Fordyce to end the inning, and then flied out to Singleton in center field in the 5th. About hit the White Sox 7-5. They have a 4-2 lead thanks to the 2-run homer by Nomar Garcia Parra. lot of you are joining us late as you make your way home from work. The A's last night fell behind 2-0 to Anaheim. Came back to win that game 9-3, so the Red Sox magic number is still 1. Sox took a 2-0 lead here in the first inning of the first game of the doubleheader. Chicago back to tie it up, and then Nomar Garcia-Parra's 2-run homer in the 5th inning gave the Red Sox the 4-2 lead that they enjoy here in the 6th. Troy O'Leary at second base with 2 outs. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Darren Lewis. Matt Rapp will go for the Red Sox in game 2. Ground ball down the first baseline, foul.
Tell you what, you got to be careful on the ground balls right tight on the line, because we saw one earlier bounce back into fair territory. That ball almost bounced back, chewed up down those baselines. Very small baselines here, and the reason for that is they have a guy at the top of the order, Caruso, that likes to bunt. So the more grass out there, the better for the bunters, and they have very little dirt from that grass to the white line.
Actually hurt Caruso earlier in the ball game when he dribbled one down the first baseline and kicked fair. And Ken Merker was able to tag Caruso out. Two and two, the count on Darren Lewis. Okay, just missing with that one. It's a full count. Breaks, rolled to third. Wilson short hops it. His throw over to Konerko at first base in time to get Lewis, and that'll retire the side. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. We've played 5.5 here in the windy city of Chicago. The Red Sox have the lead 4-2. Back here in Chicago, bottom half the 6th inning in game 1. The Red Sox, whose magic number is 1, have a 4-2 lead over the White Sox. Magley Ordonez greeting Kent Merker. Line drive, base hit, left field. Ordonez a perfect 2 for 2 plus a walk now in the game.
Red Sox have some activity going in the bullpen. It actually started prior to Ordonez coming to the plate. Ordonez picks up his 2nd hit. He's been on base 3 times as Rich Garces starts to loosen for Boston.
Carlos Lee at the plate here for Chicago. Sends one foul down the right field line.
Oh, nice play. One tough high hop and one terrific play. Merker
comes back with strike 2. Carlos Lee has struck out and popped up to Offerman at second base. Garcia-Parra at short, goes to Offerman for 1, back to Stanley, but Lee able to beat the relay. Red Sox get the lead man. Ordonez at second. Lee is safe at first on the fielder's choice.
Too deep for Nomar, and a couple of steps to his right, and that's going to cost the double play. It's a good pitch by Merker, that change up away, but he had to go a long way for it. And then a much more difficult throw. When you have to back off the bag like that as a second baseman, you can't come charging across. Obviously, that makes it a little bit longer to first base, and that's going to be the difference.
1 out in the Chicago 6th, but Singleton takes 1 wide.
Anytime that shortstop's on the move going away from second, the second baseman really has to kind of hang around that bag and not come across too soon.
.98 pitches for Merker here. Just 1 out into the 6th inning.
If he's able to make it through the 6th inning, it'll probably be his last.
3 balls, 1 strike on the Chicago rookie center fielder. Chris Singleton, one of 12 White Sox to make their major league debut here in the '99 campaign for Jerry Manuel. 3-1 pitch, and it's 3-2. Merker has labored throughout the ball game, but has been able to keep the White Sox to just the 2 runs that they picked up back in the 4th inning on the 2-out base hit by Darren Jackson. He has given up 6 hits. Three-two pitch. Singleton line drive, speared at second base by Offerman. 2 outs.
Well, he may not make it through the 6th as Jimmy Williams coming out now with the right-hander coming to the plate. Nicely timed by Offerman at second base. Take a base hit away from Singleton. Thinking about double play, but the runner at first base lead not that far off the bag. Jimmy making the call of the bullpen with the right-hander Konerko coming up. He's going to go for Garces, so he got everything he needed out of Kent Merker in this ball game.
Merker leaves with the 2-run lead, having worked the first 5 2/3 innings. El Guapo. Rich Garces makes his way in. No Atlanta Mobile call to the bullpen. Rich Garces is on the other end of the phone. We'll take a break. Back with more baseball from Comiskey Park right after this.
Bottom of the 6th inning, the Red Sox have the 4-2 lead. Well, what's brewing tomorrow night in the front row? Well, the hockey season is here, and the Bruins are once again counting on number 77 to lead in the quest for the Lord Stanley. We'll find out what makes Bork so special as he enters his 21st NHL season. And Rhode Island was the host of this year's Gravity Games. Meet the street lugers, skateboarders, and bike riders that tore up the tracks and streets of Providence. Don't miss a minute tomorrow night at 6:30 in the front row.
Now look who's back in the front row here, right in broadcast booth land. Looking on from the press box is one of his Red Sox friends. Rich Garces will take over now on the mound.
28th appearance for Garces on the season, a record of 5-1. The last time he worked was against the Orioles on the 25th. 2 innings in that ball game and had 4 strikeouts against Baltimore.
Carlos Lee at first base. 2 outs here. Bottom of the 6th inning. Rich Garces to work to Paul Konerko.
Lee at first base, only 4 steals on this season. He's been caught a couple of times, but sometimes with 2 outs, if you forget about him, to try to get that man in the scoring position.
Konerko has struck out, flied to center. He's 0 for 2.
Flat breaking balls for Rich for the first 2 pitches.
Konerko has been a better hitter as the season has gone on. 203 in April, 280 in May, 279 in June. Up that to 420 in July. He has hit at a 318 clip since the 1st of July. A stronger second half. Breaking ball from Garces misses. A serene one.
Right-handers this season have only hit 137 off Garces. But he's down on the count here, 3-1. It's a guy that has some power. 23 home runs for Konerko.
There's his strike on the outside corner. 3-2. No full count on the hitter. Carlos Lee at first base will be off with the 3-2 pitch. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. goes. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball. Base hit. Dribble left side of the infield into left field. And the White Sox have 2 on with 2 outs.
Now that's why they were trying to throw him breaking balls early in the count. Instead, they fell behind, had to come with a fastball, and Konerko picks up his first base hit. A ground ball past Valentin at third base. All tied in the hit department now, 7 for each team, but the Red Sox still with the 4-2 lead.
Aaron Jackson, the left fielder, bats. Lifts the breaking ball to left field. Troy O'Leary backs up a step or 2, makes the catch, and that'll retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. We go to the late innings in this one. The Red Sox lead the White Sox 4-2. Top of the 7th inning at Comiskey Park. The Red Sox magic number is 1. They've got the 4-2 lead over the White Sox. Top of the 7th inning. New pitcher for Chicago, Jim Parquet, working the first 6 innings, and Sean Lowe now is on here in the 7th.
Had a nice season for the White Sox. 61st appearance, a 3-1 record, 3.66 ERA. Ranks among the lead leaders in relief with those 91 innings, 57 strikeouts and 86 hits. Last time Lowe worked in a ball game was against the Twins on Saturday, an inning in that ball game. Quite a few guys out in that bullpen. They've got about 8 or 9 pitches in the expanded roster.
Well stocked out there. Jose Offerman leads off for the Red Sox. John Valentin, Nomar Garcia-Parra follow here in the top of the 7th. Singled in the first inning, scored the Red Sox first run. Offerman walked him at third, flied out to Ordonez in right field in the 5th. Lowe had high walk numbers, 44 walks in the 91 innings that he's worked so far this year. Offerman hits this one pretty well out to left field. Back is Darren Jackson at the wall, and will run it down at the 375 sign all the way to the warning track. Good carry going to the opposite field there for Jose Offerman.
Offerman standing on second base like he can't believe it. He thought he hit that ball with a chance to maybe go off the wall. High fastball tailing away from Offerman. Hit it well, but he'll take Darren Jackson all the way back to the warning track to make the catch.
It looked like when it left the bat, it was probably in there into the gap, but
had a chance. 375 though to the gaps here in Comiskey.
Old Comiskey was a pitcher's ballpark. New Comiskey, a big ballpark as well. 347 down the lines, 375 to the power alleys, and then 400 to straightaway center field. John Valentin chops it to third. Craig Wilson makes the play. The throw to Konerko, 2 quick outs. 2 go on here in the 7th. That brings up Nomar Garcia-Parra. His home run 2 innings ago broke a 2-2 tie and gave the Red Sox the lead. Back to the 5th inning. John Valentin with a 2-out single. Nomar follows, and Nomar goes deep for the home run. Sox take the lead 4-2. And that's where we are right now. 4-2 Boston. Bases empty, 2 outs in the top of the 7th. Nomar has bumped his average up a couple of points in this one so far to 358. A 9-point lead over Derek Jeter of New York. A large group of Red Sox fans right behind their dugout. And every time a Red Sox pitcher gets a couple of strikes, they're standing up, clapping for the strikeout. A lot of folks, of course, travel on business to the Chicago area, and a number of them like to come out to ball games at night. A lot of Red Sox fans behind their dugout. To be here tonight and see the Red Sox wrap up at least the wild card spot in the postseason for the 2nd straight year as Garcia-Parra draws the 2-out walk. 51 walks now for Garcia-Parra. It's one thing that he has become in the second half of the season, more patient, and of course by drawing a walk or 2 in a game, that certainly helps in that batting race. Nomar at first with 2 outs. Here's first baseman Mike Stanley, who's had a solid night at the plate. Hit hard on a line to Wilson at third, and that will retire beside. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left. 7th inning stretch here in Chicago. Red Sox 4, White Sox 2. 4-2 Red Sox lead as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Next Red Sox action coming your way here on Nessa. We won't have to wait long. Just about 20 minutes after game 1. It'll be game 2, the Red Sox at the White Sox. And we got Pat Rapp going in that ball game for Boston. That's coming your way right after this one. Red Sox playing their first doubleheader of a 1999 season. We mentioned earlier the White Sox have had 7 of them so far. They had a lot of weather problems earlier in the year. With the weather problem last night, 2 here at Comiskey Park tonight. Rich Garces, who came on to get the last out of the 6th inning, works to Brooke Fordyce as we get underway in the bottom of the 7th. Breaking ball for a strike. Kent Merker started the ball game for Boston, worked the first 5 2/3. It's now up to the bullpen. Fordyce has fly to center and popped to short. Last ball from Garces. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Notice between innings, Garces into the clubhouse and took off that sweatshirt that he had on. A lot of pitchers don't like to work with the sleeves, and Garces is apparently one of those.
Fordyce lines it to left field. Back goes O'Leary. Can't want this one down all the way to the 375 sign. Fordyce digging for second, and will go in with a leadoff double.
It's 3 doubles now in the game for the White Sox. Good hard line drive by Fordyce, and right in that gap, just to the left of O'Leary. He'll have to chase it back to that bullpen area, and by the time he gets it back in, Fordyce with the leadoff double. So by no means is this game yet in the bag for the Red Sox. Only a 2-run ball game.
And a runner in scoring position. Nobody out here in the bottom of the 7th. Top of the order, Mike Caruso coming up for Chicago. Caruso with the bunt attempt, fouled back to the screen. He is 0 for 3 tonight. Is grounded to second. Had one go right down the first base line, handled by Merker, who tagged him out into third, and then Merker had to go in the air to snare his comebacker in the 5th inning. Throw him out at first base. 0 for 3 for Caruso.
He is the toughest guy in the league to strike out. He's number 1. Nomar is number 2. And one of the reasons for Caruso, he very seldom around the 2 strikes.
Doesn't strike out much, doesn't walk much. They make something in the papers here that he has more errors than he does walks this year. 24 errors at short, and he's walked only 20 times.
Not your ideal leadoff numbers. Matter of fact, when you look at that toughest to strike out list, you've got Caruso, Garciaparra, Chris Singleton, Ordonez, and Darren Lewis. All 5 guys in the top 10 in the league as toughest to strike out.
Garces falls behind Caruso now, 3-1.
They're all the same, aren't they?
Red Sox have Fordyce at second base. Nobody out. Full count on the hitter Caruso. Caruso puts it in play. Ground ball to short. Garcia-Parra throws out his counterpart, but taking third base on the play with only one out is Brooke Fordyce.
Good base running by Fordyce. Anytime that ball's directly at you, you have to know, first of all, where that shortstop's playing behind you. And then if it's right at you or to your left, you can go ahead and go to third base. Caruso making the contact on the changeup down and away. And he'll be out at first base, but he does advance that base runner. Looks like we've got a pinch hitter coming up for Wilson. Greg Norton coming up, the switch hitter for the White Sox.
255 on the year, 16 homers, 50 runs batted in. Had a 6-game hitting streak snapped at Minnesota on Monday night, going 0 for 3. He goes after the first pitch and pops it foul. That'll be back in the seats. I think we're headed for a huge crowd tonight. A little better, obviously, than when we started a couple of hours ago. We had about 100 people in the seats. A long baseball summer here in Chicago, and the Windy City sports fans have moved on to other sporting events here late in the year, although Sosa still has them excited in that home run race with McGuire, although that doesn't seem to have nearly the implications or the excitement that it had a year ago.
Everybody's spoiled now. They've set different standards for home run leaders.
O'Leary has to come a long way. He's there to make the catch. Tagging at third base, holding up his Fordyce. O'Leary guns it in. Fly ball to shallow left off the bat of Norton for the second out of the inning.
That sounded like one of those broken bat bloops that was going to drop in for a base hit, but instead O'Leary was playing fairly shallow. Able to make the play, and all the base runner Fordyce is doing is trying to draw a throw and hopes he draws a bad throw.
Fordyce at third base with 2 outs now, and Ray Durham at the plate for the White Sox. Durham has grounded out and twice flied out in the ball game.
Not a bad idea by Durham. He has both Stanley and Offerman deep on that right side.
Strike. Eric Lowe in the Red Sox bullpen. That's a strike on the outside corner. 3-2 the count on Durham. Is trying to nail down the final out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Payoff pitch, and Durham hits it high in the air out to right field. Lewis going back. Buford is there, and it's going to be Buford just shy of the warning track to make the catch, and that will retire the side. So no runs. The leadoff double goes for naught for Chicago. Fordyce is stranded at third. 7 complete here at Comiskey. The Red Sox closing in. It's 4-2 as we head to the 8th.
7 complete. The Red Sox with the 4-2 lead over the White Sox. We remind you this copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Boston Red Sox may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Boston Red Sox.
That'll be a little slow getting underway here, top of the 8th inning. We will tell you that Greg Norton has gone in defensively for Wilson at third base. We'll have a pitching change on the mound. Brian Daubach has been announced as a pinch hitter for the Red Sox, and as soon as they announced him pinch hitting for Butch Husky, Jerry Manuel makes his way out of the White Sox dugout, and he's going to make a pitching change. He'll get one of the left-handers he has down in the bullpen. Daubach in to pinch hit for Husky. The call has gone out to the Chicago pen. That looks to be Jesus Pena making his way in. We'll check. We'll take a break and back with more baseball as the Bell Atlantic Mobile call to the bullpen has been answered. Pitching change here in Chicago. More baseball right after this.
Back at Comiskey Park. Red Sox with the 4-2 lead.
Now don't forget we have Sports Desk for you every morning. Bob Rogers gets you started. 15-minute fast-paced show. It runs from 5 o'clock in the morning on. You can see it every morning right here on your New England Sports Network. Tonight on Nesson, meet Jesus Pena.
24th appearance for Pena on the season. He was called up to the White Sox from Birmingham in AA baseball on August the 6th. It's making his 24th appearance for the White Sox. Only 18 innings and 17 hits. A lot of walks. 22 walks and 17 strikeouts.
Daubach will pinch hit for the Red Sox. Daubach after the first pitch, line drive, base hit, left field. Daubach against the left-hander gets the Red Sox started with a pinch hit single here in the 8th.
And why waste time? Pick on that first fastball from the lefty. I think we may have a pinch runner for Daubach over at first base. John Nunnally coming out to pinch run.
No Nunnally in the ball game. Pinch running for Daubach. Leadoff man aboard for the Red Sox. Troy O'Leary will be the hitter. O'Leary 1 for 2 tonight, plus a walk. O'Leary has bounced back to the mound, walked in the 4th inning, and then singled to left his last trip in the 6th. 4 runs, 8 hits for the Red Sox. 2 runs, 8 hits for the White Sox. No balls, 2 strikes. Boston jumped in front in the 1st inning. Single by Offerman, double by Garcia Parra, sacrifice fly by Mike Stanley made it 1-0, and then the double by Butch Husky made it 2-0 in favor of the Red Sox. White Sox tied it on a 2-out bloop single to left by Darren Jackson in the 4th inning. Omar Garcia Parra broke the tie with a 2-run homer in the 5th, and O'Leary hit by a pitch.
Well, so far, Jesus Pena has done a heck of a job. A base hit to Daubach. He gets ahead of O'Leary 0-2, and he tries to go inside. Instead, he'll hit him right in the back. So the move by Jerry Manuel has not exactly worked out. He got the lefty on the lefty. One had a base hit. One's been hit by a pitch. Now 2 on and nobody out. Veritek was asked to sacrifice in his last at bat. See if they try to do it again and move 2 men into scoring position.
Veritek gives no indication of bunt as he takes one down low.
Didn't work out last time. He got his job done by sacrificing, but then both Buford and Lewis had ground ball outs, and the Red Sox did not get a run out of it.
Veritek has 5 successful sacrifices on the year. One ball, 1 strike. To left field. Aaron Jackson goes back. Is there. Will make the catch. And a strong throw by Jackson into third base. Base runners hold. Not only at second base, O'Leary at first. There's now one out.
It's a heck of a throw by Darren Jackson. Nunnally was tagging up, and he took a couple of steps toward third, but that throw right on the money by the left fielder for the White Sox. Nunnally would have been out by about 5 feet going in. Kind of flat-footed too, but a quick release. And Nunnally had to hold his second base. One hop right to Greg Norton. And out again comes Jerry Manuel, and it looks like he's going to go to the bullpen again.
Now, we mentioned his bullpen is well stocked with all the September call-ups. He has used Sean Lowe and Jesus Pena out of the pen so far tonight. Lowe a right-hander, Pena a lefty. And that'll be all for Pena. He works 1/3 of an inning as the third Chicago pitcher of the night. Like Bill Seamus coming in, the right-hander. He's answering the Bell Atlantic mobile call from the bullpen. We'll take a break. Back with more baseball from Chicago right after this. Back here at Comiskey Park, top of the 8th inning. Red Sox with a 4-2 lead, trying to add to the 2-run advantage here in the top of the 8th inning. White Sox have gone to their bullpen again. This is the right-hander, Bill Seamus.
69th appearance for Seamus. He leads the staff in appearances for the Chicago White Sox. 71 innings total. He's got a couple of saves on the season for the Chicago Ball Club. Of course, their leader, Bob Howry, has 25 saves. He has become their main closer.
Damon Buford bats for the Red Sox, who have Nunnally at second base. Troy O'Leary at first with one out. Here's a drive to center field. Singleton goes back. Singleton goes way back. That's over his head, off the wall. Nunnally will score. Here comes O'Leary. He's being waved home as well. Troy O'Leary scores as well. It's a long double for Buford. 2 runs on the board for the Red Sox, and they now lead it 6-2.
Well, you've got to give credit to the pinch hitters this inning. Daubach going up, swinging at the first pitch against the lefty to pick up the base hit. Buford has to face the right-hander Seamus. He picks on the first pitch. And because Singleton was playing very shallow, he had no chance on this long fly ball. Good read also by O'Leary at first base. He also knew that there was not going to be a catch. He just continues to run those bases, and he'll score the second run. Nunnally first, and then O'Leary.
Aaron Lewis follows out to right center field. Singleton runs that down. Buford tags at second and moves over to third. Red Sox up by 4 now. 6-2 here in the top of the 8th inning. Damon Buford at third with 2 outs. Red Sox are 6 outs away from sewing up a spot in the playoffs. Top of the order, and Jose Offerman takes one from Seamus up and in. 1 ball, no strikes.
Offerman kind of stares out at Seamus after that inside fastball. Wasn't it Billy Seamus that had the problem with the Yankees? They said that Randolph was calling balk or something, and he had a little thing with Derek Jeter, a shouting match. I'm not sure if it was Seamus. Quite sure it was.
Seamus right now having his problems with Offerman as he's fallen behind 3-0. Four straight, and Offerman will walk down to first and third for the Red Sox with 2 outs, and John Valentin will be up. First and third, 2 outs. John Valentin, who's 1 for 4 tonight. Valentin lined to Wilson at third base in the first inning, was called out on strikes on the third, singled to left after a nice at bat in the fifth inning to extend the inning and give Nomar Garciaparra a shot. Garciaparra followed with a home run to break the 2-2 tie. And then John bounced out to Wilson again at third in the seventh, so he's 1 for 4. Duford over at third base. That was Offerman at first. First and third with 2 outs for the Red Sox. 2 runs in here in the top of the 8th. Goal since day 1 of spring training, postseason play. The Red Sox magic number is 1. They are 6 outs away. Seamus with control problems. It's 3-1. He walked Offerman on 4 pitches, has missed on 3 of 4 offerings to Valentin. Three-1 pitch is popped up. Konerko coming over by the Boston dugout and will not have room. Just out of his reach down the dugout steps.
But Konerko had time to maybe walk down a couple of those steps and still try to make the play. You can do that. You can go into a dugout to make a catch.
Obviously, you get no help over at the visiting dugout, and he's right at the top step, and it'll only miss it by a step or 2. Fordyce, the catcher, also there.
That's an effort there by a team that's 1,000 games out of first place. Why risk injury?
I was just thinking that. Not a crucial play from the Chicago point of view. Back with the payoff pitch, and it's down low. The Red Sox have loaded the bases for Nomar Garciaparra. Nomar this year 190 hits, 42 doubles, 27 homers, 104 runs batted in.
Little mini Fenway over here behind the Red Sox dugout. They're loving all of this.
After the first pitch, chops it to short. Caruso will make the play over to first base in time to get Nomar. And the Red Sox score 2, leave the bases loaded. They've got themselves a 6-2 advantage as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Back here at Comiskey Park, Red Sox with a 6-2 lead over the White Sox here in game 1. We'll check our game summary. Merker got the start. He worked 5 2/3 innings, gave up 2 runs, 6 hits, struck out 2, walked 1. Rich Garces working a scoreless 1 1/3 in relief. Nomar Garciaparra has a double, a 2-run homer. David Buford had a big 2-run double in the top of the 8th inning to get 2 more on the board for the Red Sox. It's 6-2 Boston. White Sox bat here in the bottom of the 8th. Our new pitcher for Boston, it'll be Derek Lowe.
Last appearance for Derek Lowe was against the Orioles on the 27th. Lowe pitched an inning in that ball game, a couple of hits. 73rd appearance of the season. That's in the top 10 in the American League.
Aglio Ordonez leading off for the White Sox here in the 8th inning. Carlos Lee, Chris Singleton to follow. Hot shot, base hit, perhaps extra bases down the right field line. Ordonez stumbles as he rounds first, but still will cruise into second with a leadoff double.
He's had a heck of a night, on base 4 times, 2 singles, a double, and a walk for Ordonez. Again, right down that right field line, the pitch away from Lowe, and some good hitting by Ordonez. As I mentioned earlier, this kid is just a real good ball player for the White Sox, something they can build around. And those 2 extra runs look awful big for the Red Sox in this one.
A 4-run pad here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Carlos Lee bats. Lee fouling it over towards the White Sox dugout. Carlos Lee tonight is struck out, popped to second, and safe on the fielder's choice. Yankees in Baltimore delayed by rain tonight at Camden Yards. It'll be slow getting underway if they get underway at all.
That might have been all that junk that was here for the last couple of days heading east. Got there in a hurry if that's the case.
Still no balls, 2 strikes. Fly ball and back is short. Garcia Parra finally called off by Troy O'Leary. The left fielder comes in and handles it. 1 out. Red Sox are 5 outs away as Lee flies out to O'Leary and left. Sox lead the White Sox 6-2 in the first of 2 here at Comiskey Park tonight. Rookie center fielder Chris Singleton, who has 1 hit tonight in 3 trips. Singleton, a native of California, lives in Mesa, Arizona now. Breaks the bat, sends it foul right down the left field line, dropped by a fan in the front row. Had it but dropped it.
Somebody's got to hold his leg so he can reach over and get that souvenir. Oh, even better, they give it to the kid with the cotton candy.
Having a heck of a night. Jumping on some cotton candy. Has a pretty good seat for the ball game. And now has a souvenir to take home as well. Low missing down and in. 2 balls, 1 strike. Singleton at the plate. Konerko on deck for the White Sox. Derek Lowe, 3rd pitcher to work tonight for Jimmy Williams. Merker, Garces, and now Derek Lowe. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Ground ball towards Garcia Parra at short. That'll send the runner back to second. Nomar slings it over to first base in time to get Singleton. Nice play by Garcia Parra, 2 outs.
Well, again, as we mentioned earlier in the ball game, for Nomar, apparently that wrist feeling much better. He's had a great offensive game and also a great defensive game. Just barely getting Singleton at first. Certainly not the way you would teach your kids to play shortstop. Everything seems to be off balance for Nomar, but he gets it done.
It's not broken, don't fix it.
Oh, don't even think about trying to fix it. Leave it alone.
Two outs here in the 8th inning. Here's Paul Konerko. Bat breaks. Low breaks, so many of them. Ground ball here to short. Garcia Parra throws out Konerko. The Red Sox are 3 outs away. It's 6-2 as we head to the 9th. Red Sox baseball has been brought to you in part by Southwest Airlines. With fares so low, you have the freedom to go places. By Avis. Speed and personal service is what everyone at Avis is dedicated to delivering. We try harder for you. By Frost Brewed Coors Light, who reminds you the 3 most important words are, hey, beer man. By Citizens Bank, not your typical bank. And by Mobile, introducing the fastest way to get gas, Mobile Speed Pass. It's free and it's only at Mobile. Sun sets here in Chicago. Red Sox take a 6-2 lead here to the 9th inning. We'll get a new pitcher here for the White Sox. Carlos Castillo now will take over on the mound. He'll be the fifth pitcher to work for the White Sox tonight, following Parquet, Lowe, Pena, and Seamus to the mound.
Looks like Carlos has put on a little weight since the last time we saw him. My goodness.
Last outing Friday, worked 3 1/3 innings against the Twins, giving up the 1 run. Mike Stanley leads off for the Red Sox here in the 9th inning.
I'm not trying to make light of this, but wasn't there something in the paper today about putting him on a liquid diet for some 15 days or something?
Russo with short, throws out Stanley. I think you're right. I read the same story. Stanley out on a ground ball to short. There's one gone. Red Sox 3 outs away from wrapping up the wild card. Darren Jackson, Brooke Fordyce, and then Mike Caruso due up against Derek Lowe in the bottom of the 9th. John Nunnally, his first at bat. Nunnally has a couple of hits and 9 trips for the Red Sox this year. Butch Husky began the day as the Red Sox designated hitter. He was 1 for 3 with a double that produced a run back in the 2nd. Brian Daubach pinch hit in the 8th inning and singled, and now Nunnally comes through with a base hit with 1 out here in the 9th. DH has produced 3 hits for the Red Sox tonight by 3 different players.
Husky a double, a drive, and a run. Daubach with a base hit in that big 2-run 8th inning, and now Nunnally with a hit. Even Wally's wondering how much weight he put on since the last time he saw him.
Foul back by O'Leary. 1 strike to count. Big difference here at Chicago as the Red Sox close in, as opposed to what we would have had at Fenway Park over the weekend with the full house. But there are a number of Red Sox fans. Can you imagine being a Boston fan, being fortunate enough to be in this area on business? Obviously, tickets are to be had. Come out to the ball game and hopefully see the Red Sox wrap up things here tonight.
Geez, I hope they don't charge the field after this. Rip up the sod and all that stuff.
Small in numbers, but they're enthusiastic here tonight. See that familiar B on hats all over Comiskey Park. I think the Red Sox have the White Sox fans just about outnumbered tonight. If you're a White Sox fan, not really a whole lot of reasons to come out to the ballpark here late. Nothing doing on the base pass on the pitch out. 2-1 now, the count on O'Leary. 6 runs, 10 hits for the Red Sox. 2 runs, 9 hits for the White Sox. Fly ball here, right field. Ordonez has a long way to come, but he'll get there in time to make the catch. The throw to Konerko at first base. They will double off Nunnally. That will retire Beside, and so we go to the 9th inning. A double play to end the top of the 9th. Red Sox up by 4, 6-2. Here we go. Bottom of the ninth inning. Red Sox 6, Chicago 2. Aaron Jackson, Brooke Fordyce, and Mike Caruso. Hitters 8, 9, and 1 coming up for the White Sox here in the bottom of the ninth inning. They'll face a new Red Sox pitcher, Derek Lowe. Very effective in the eighth inning. Give up the leadoff double to Ordonez. Has set the side down in order, but Rod Beck gets the call here in the ninth.
10th appearance for Beck in a Red Sox uniform. He's got 3 saves, a record of 0-1, 2.45 ERA. Last time out for Beck against Toronto at 1 inning, 3 hits, and 3 earned runs. That's the first blown save for Beck as a member of the Red Sox. And back at Chicago, where of course he was very popular on the north side of Chicago with the Cubs.
Big story in one of the Chicago papers on Beck the other day. Full page spread. The Red Sox tonight, Kent Mercker, 5 2/3 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits. Rich Garces worked an inning in the third, scoreless baseball. Derek Lowe pitched the 8th, and now Rod Beck on to work the 9th. Jimmy Williams, like everybody with the Red Sox, will be glad when this one is over. Jimmy, of course, had an experience a number of years ago as the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, where they had a lead down the stretch. They were involved in a great pennant race back in 1987 with Detroit for the Eastern Division crown. 2 clubs played 7 times the last 10 days of the season. A lot of one-run games. Went into Tiger Stadium the last weekend up by 2 with 3 to play, and Detroit prevailed. So Jimmy be very happy when the Red Sox wrap up business and clinch a spot in the postseason. Jackson has a couple of hits, a single, a double. He's driven in a couple of runs tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike. Little nubber here behind the plate, foul. 1-2 the count on Darren Jackson. Red Sox 3 outs away from victory number 91 on the year, in a spot in the postseason. Fouled away again, still 1-2. Fly down the right field line. Two pitch by Beck, rolled to short. Nomar Garcia-Parra makes the play over to Stanley, and there's 1 out. Beck gets the leadoff hitter Darren Jackson, and the ground ball to Garcia-Parra. 1 out, 2 to go. Brooke Fordyce takes the first pitch strike. Fordyce has flied to center, popped to short. His last trip in the 7th inning opened the inning with a double to left. He is 1 for 3 tonight. One strike offering here from Beck. In the air to left field. After it goes O'Leary. Won't catch up to this one, all the way to the 375 sign. And Fordyce has his 2nd straight double.
And he's had O'Leary going to chase the ball down by that White Sox bullpen a couple of times tonight. Last at bat coming against Garces, this time against Beck. It's the slider from Beck. And Fordyce 2 for 4 on the night. Both hits doubles.
Fordyce in second, 1 out here. Bottom half the 9th inning. Top of the order, Mike Caruso looks at strike 1. And the Red Sox will advance to the postseason. A double play to end the ball game, and the Red Red Sox are headed for the playoffs for the second straight year. Lot of high fives, lots of smiles. Sox have eliminated the Oakland A's. They can now set their sights on the New York Yankees, who start the day with a 4.5 game lead. A slim chance for the Sox to catch them. But in any event, the Sox are headed for the postseason. Jerry, you knew it was coming, but when it finally arrives, it's always a relief.
It's like we talked about, Bob. I mean, from a distance, you know it's going to happen. But from a player's point of view, until it does happen, now it's everybody's very relieved.
Jimmy Williams would say they have finished up their business. They have gotten the win that will advance them to the postseason. Not a large gathering of Red Sox followers here at Comiskey Park tonight, but certainly an enthusiastic one. On hand to see the Red Sox advance to at least the wild card with this win, 6-2 over the Chicago White Sox. And a terrific season for Boston. As we mentioned, it starts from day one of spring training. Your goal is to advance to the postseason, get to that postseason party, see what happens. And the Red Sox, for the second straight year, and for the third time in the last 5 years, will play baseball well into the month of October. 6 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for the Red Sox, 2 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the White Sox. Kent Mercker, who goes the first 5 2/3 innings, picks up the win. He is now 2-0 on the year. Beck picked up his save, his 4th of the season. And Parquet, the starter and loser for the White Sox, his record now falls to 9-15. We're honored now as Dan Duquette is getting set up with a little microphone. He can join us and join the celebration up here in the broadcast booth. Executive Vice President, General Manager Dan Duquette, are you heaving a little bit of sigh of relief? Even though you knew it was coming, it's nice to have it over, huh?
Well, it's nice to complete the deal like any deal, and we're real happy and proud to be in the playoffs for the second year in a row. It's the first time we've done it in a long time. And we're still in the hunt for the East Division, but at least we got the first step on our journey to fulfill the goals of all Red Sox fans.
And satisfaction, I mean, you know, you've been involved now in a couple of playoffs. You've had a great record here with the Red Sox, but I would think this team has to be special because of everything that went on in the offseason, losing Mo and the team getting off to a good start. Not high expectations from a lot of the folks around, but this club battled and battled and battled from day one.
Well, they really did, and people weren't expecting a real good ball club from the Red Sox this year, but in spring training they made a commitment to each other to put the Mo Vaughn situation behind them and then to go forward with the season. And we had a good pitching staff, and we had everybody else returning. So the fact that Pedro had a super year, and we had Garcia Parra, and then the emergence of the younger ball players like Baratek and Derek Lowe, you know, that's made for a real good season.
I know in talking to you before, you've always said you want to be competitive and be in the postseason every year. This is 2 years in a row now, 3 of the last 5 years.
Well, you know, if you have a good team every year, one of these times when you get to that dance floor, you're going to find a partner. So hopefully this will be the year. We do have better pitching this year going into the playoffs than we've had in the past. We got a little bit more depth to our starting rotation, and with the addition of Beck and the emergence of Lowe, we've got 2 really good relievers in the pen, so that should give us a good opportunity. We match up pretty good against all 3 teams in the playoffs.
When you look at this team, there are a lot of times during the course of a season where things don't look so well, but then you have big performances by Brian Rose when he comes up to the big leagues. You have Pena come up and do a good job. I remember a couple of starts for Pat Rapp, especially that one up in Toronto where he pulled the team out of a slump. So it's really been a combination of guys that have done the job.
Well, you got to have a contribution from your minor league system. Our minor league people have done a great job. Kent Qualls, Wayne Britton, Ray Portavant, Jimmy Williams did a great job. Joe Kerrigan did a nice job. And day in and day out, we've got a great work ethic in the organization. And these players, when they come to the ballpark, they expect to win. So I think that's a good situation. And as I said, one of these times we're going to come through with that all the hopes and dreams of every Red Sox fan. We had a lot of enthusiastic fans here tonight behind our dugout, and that was really good to see.
One last thing, when now it's kind of audition time, you've got to make some plans for the playoff roster, and in particular pitching staff. You know two for sure. You know it's going to be Pedro and Saberhagen, but then there's some question mark after that. And the way Ramon Martinez has pitched recently, the way Merker has pitched, I would think that both those guys would be in consideration.
Well, they're both pitching well. You know, they throw strikes and they change speeds. They work fast, so you should get pretty good defensive plays behind them. And they have to be in strong consideration for us to be in our starting rotation during the playoffs. That's how we're setting up the team going in. And then that'll give us a little bit more depth to our bullpen. So, you know, it's a good situation for us.
Well, Dan, thanks a lot for joining us, and congratulations.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jerry. It was a great achievement for the organization, and we're real proud, and we appreciate the support of our fans.
The second straight year, the Red Sox are on to the postseason. They win Game 1 here, 6-2 over the Chicago White Sox. Time now for our Citizens Bank. Not your typical player of the ball game. And our choice is Nomar Garciaparra. Who else? 2 for 4, a home run, a double, 2 runs batted in. Nomar picks up another point on the batting average, leads the American League. 357. Nomar Garciaparra, our Citizens Bank, not your typical player.
And the mobile extra mile play of the game, Damon Buford's double in the 8th inning. This gave the Red Sox a couple of insurance runs and made things easier for the last couple of innings. Mobile goes the extra mile for you.
So it's the Red Sox on to the postseason. They beat the White Sox 6-2 here in Game 1. In about 20 minutes, we'll have Game 2 for you. Stay tuned. More Red Sox baseball coming your way right after this.
At Comiskey, lots of empty seats. You can sit wherever you want. Wally found a good seat as well during this game. Butch Husky will help the Red Sox to the early 2-0 lead. He rips the double down the line and left. Nomar scores from second. It's 2-0. Meanwhile, Kent Merker was solid again for Jimmy Williams. Strikes out Paul Konerko, one of 2 strikeout victims over 5 2/3 innings. Gives up 2 runs on 6 hits. A little trouble in the 4th inning. 2-out magic for the White Sox as Darren Jackson drops one in front of Troy O'Leary. It scores 2, and it ties the game up at 2. But it doesn't stay that way for very long.
Nomar hits this one pretty good to left field. Jackson is back at the wall for 375. Sign gone. A home run for Garciaparra. And the Red Sox reclaim the lead 4-2.
Yep, home run number 27 for Nomar. He now has 104 RBI, and the Red Sox add to that 4-2 lead in the 8th inning. Damon Buford crushes one to deep center field. It's way back. It will score pinch runner John Nunnally. And Troy O'Leary also scores. As a matter of fact, Nunnally had a hit. He wasn't a pinch runner, a pinch hitter. 6-2, Sox 2 outs away.
Line drive, Garciaparra nails and steps on the bag, and the Red Sox will advance to the postseason. Double play to end the ball game, and the Red Sox are headed for the playoffs for the second straight year.
Well, the Red Sox getting it done in Game 1 of the doubleheader. They don't have a whole lot of time now to celebrate clinching their playoff spot because they'll play another game in just about 15 minutes or so against the White Sox. Obviously, a lot of the reserves will be playing in that one. Garciaparra, another big game, a double. The 2-run home run, Buford the 2-run double to give the Red Sox a little extra cushion. The Sox clinch their second straight playoff berth. It's the first time they have done that since 1915 and 1916. The Red Sox have also made the playoffs in 3 of the last 5 years. And as we've mentioned before, Jimmy Williams becoming the first Red Sox manager to post back-to-back 90-win seasons since Don Zimmer did it back in the late 70s. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll hear from Bob and Jerry.
Jimmy was how he always was upbeat and always positive.
And to his credit, Williams is notorious for giving players a chance.
Nixon bidding for his 3rd home run. High and deep in right and gone.
Oh yeah, I would have been out here, probably. I would have been out because you know some managers don't have the patience. That's fine. I respect that. It's no problem. But this front office and Jim Williams and the coach staff had patience in me.
Jimmy Williams was the guy who was out there working with him in early hitting every day, and it was Jimmy Williams who said, this guy can play, I'm going to stick with him, and he did, and look at how Nixon has turned his season around. So I think he's in that pat phrase of being a player's manager. In a lot of ways, Jimmy is. There's a great deal of respect in that clubhouse for him.
And a great deal of respect all across baseball for the job Jimmy Williams has done with the Red Sox. He is obviously the favorite to win American League Manager of the Year. There have been other good jobs as well, Art Howe with Oakland, and of course all the teams that will make the postseason. But Jimmy Williams pretty much a lock to win American League Manager of the Year. The Red Sox still want to win Game 2 of this doubleheader because they still have a shot to win the American League Eastern Division title away from the Yankees. They're almost ready for Game 2. So back to Chicago we go. Bob and Jerry.